Matt, you're going to start recording without even... You start recording without even answering my question.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to ask the question again. You always have backup material, right?
Usually. Who knows
Well,
you sometimes.
if I spoil your moment, this is all on you, because I found this in the 5 minutes that I was waiting for you to come online.
So it's my
so
you say that's my fault, is it? Okay.
You might not have seen, because I'm going to guess you were busy, but I found out, I didn't realise that the Peacock thing actually has Tour de France coverage on it as well. So I was like, oh, cool. It's like the last 30 minutes or so. I'm going to watch this. And then I started to do maths in my head. I'm like, oh, shoot, this is going to finish like 5 minutes after we start recording. I'm going to miss the finish. Anyway, they started to speed up, and Mark Cavendish won the stage, which is what I wanted to see. And if you're a Tour de France follower, you'll know that ties Eddie Merckx now for the most number of stage wins all time. That's kind of significant on a year. If it wasn't for the Olympics and the Euros, which at the time of recording is at the semi-final stage, and England's going to be in the finals, I think Mark Cavendish would be a perfect person to be sports personality of the year, because he actually does have a personality and a story to tell. But hey. All right, cycling. Cycling is your equivalent of my Dungeons and Dragons. I got it. All right, what do you want to talk about, Matt?
I have all the time in the world for people who are cyclists. I just don't get excited about it. I found it was more exciting the fact that there was more interest in tracking down who the woman who stepped out in the road and caused a big crash on the first day of the Tour de France than it was on who was winning the damn thing.
Well, it injured several people. It caused several thousands of dollars worth of damage, and it took several people out of their job for possibly up to a year. So it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but
you can imagine if
there was more interest in her than there was in who was winning the damn thing. That's all.
All right, and this is not recent, but you'll probably be able to disprove my theory anyway. On the time when Eric Cantona super kicked a fan in the stands, what was the final score?
It wasn't a super kick, at the karate kick.
Karate kick, sorry.
It was 3-0 to Man United.
All right. I wouldn't have known that, but I do remember that incident happening. It was trying to say the same thing. Obviously, when something like that happens that's so outrageous by a fan, you do tend to remember the fan more than you remember the... And this is a staged event as well. Like, one stage of the Tour de France is not a big deal. If it would have been the final stage of the Tour de France, then that would have been far more significant. But hey, I guess we focus on different things. Pretty much like our moments when we record later. I'm sure you're going to talk about actual wrestling. I'll probably just talk about stories in wrestling. Different people focus on different things.
I've got a mixture of things, Graham. So what's the thing you think you've stolen then?
Oh, well, not necessarily. It's definitely in fan cop moments. I have to be honest, when I first looked at this, I didn't understand what it was until I started reading the comments.
If it's in fan cop moments, Graham, having glanced at them, you have not stolen anything from me.
Okay, well, that's fine then. At WrestleChick207 posted a tweet from somebody whose name goes as Fat Bastard. And I'm not going to put his @ name because it's difficult to read anyway. This is why we can't have nice things. Fuck off. The tweet is from Mr. Fat Bastard. At the Jim Cornette, at Great Brian Last, how did you like my #AEW debut? I did this for all of us real wrestling fans. Wrestling is no longer a safe space for friends to dance around and play dress up. Reality can hit at any time. Do they think it's going to be fucking playtime forever? That tweet came out 2.5 hours ago. So I wanted to talk about it now rather than talking about it on the show, because that doesn't go out for 2 days. Do you have any idea what this is talking about? Because I didn't when I first read it.
I'm guessing from where you've said that, Jim Cornette's now in AEW.
No. So when I read the first comment, it became a little bit more clear. He needs to be barred from all wrestling events for life and investigated by the authorities. This is more than drunk fan does a stupid thing. This is the person that came the MJF Jericho match. The person who posted the chick then at WrestleChick, who posted the original screen grab, posted, he's proud of it. And to tag Cornette, wow, nothing like a desperate man seeking any attention he can get. He might want to think about seeing a shrink. And not many responses at this time, but I'm going to say this is kind of literally breaking news, as it were. So we don't normally get to do that, but I thought it was something that I saw it in the fan cop moment, somebody talking about it. I don't have it mentioned in my fan cop moments, which is what many of my moments, which is why I thought bonus material. Wow, I know we don't normally talk about wrestling, but it seemed like the perfect time to do that. What an absolute douchebag! So I guess I'm not surprised somebody trying to get attention, but yeah, you talked about that fan at the Tour de France. Same for this guy. This guy needs to be held accountable. He needs to be banned from all wrestling arenas, and there needs to be a serious fine that goes with it as well.
Unfortunately, there's always going to be a dickhead out there, Graham.
Oh well.
It will be one. Remember when we were at WrestleMania weekend, and we were at the big event at Madison Square Garden, and all anyone would talk about is what was happening at the Hall of Fame, which wasn't at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
It is. I can say I know there's been a lot of good cop moments when we've been talking about fans returning. I assume probably on the flip side, we've probably forgotten some of those incidents a little bit.
Probably.
And probably they will become more common as our future bad cop moments. But yeah, if they don't send a message, though, if the authorities don't send a message to people like that, then unfortunately things like that will keep going. So yeah, I think it needs. There are multiple clips of when wrestlers have jumped into the ring and then the wrestlers have actually just beaten the living crap out of them. So it's not like this is a recent phenomenon. This goes back for decades as well. But it's something that why are we still talking about it decades later? This needs to be clamped down on.
It also has something to say about the security at AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, look at WWE. Gronkowski everybody knows who Gronkowski is. Climbed over the barricade and was tackled to the ground by security.
And he was part of the show.
Yeah, I'm saying I would rather see that happen. We saw it in the Euros as well, very recently. Italian player ran to the crowd, didn't get into the crowd.
Yeah, didn't even
ran to the crowd to be idolized by his team, turned around to walk back onto the pitch, and the security guard stopped him because she thought he was a fan trailing on the pitch.
Of course, most of the fans wear jerseys, so you could kind of see, like, if you suddenly saw a person from the crowd come in with like a wrestling
in full kit, sweating.
It's a little easier to tell for a wrestling fan. But yeah, no, I would agree with you. I would rather security be overcautious than have the opposite happen. No, I absolutely agree with you.
Exactly. So there is another thing said about AEW security, that side of things, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. All right, you got anything to share with us, Matt?
Something I meant to bring up last week, Graham, actually, but obviously because we had a full house last week, it was a little bit difficult.
We had one of our longest episodes, and I had to do quite a bit of editing just to get it down to 1 hour and 30. But yes,
you did indeed. I wanted to talk about Love Island. I don't watch it.
Whew.
But it doesn't mean I know about it. Unfortunately, I wanted to talk about the idiots who've been sending death threats to the competitors.
Oh gosh! Oh, I'd not heard that side of the story at all. Wow.
Yes, I've got the story here, so I'm going to quote from this. Chloe Burrows, who was a contestant on there, they sent her death threats because she chose to recouple with one of the people on the show, leaving one of the other girls single. It resulted in Shannon being kicked off the show because she didn't have a partner, causing people to send death threats to her online, some encouraging her to kill herself. Yeah, it was disturbing.
Yeah.
ITV had to put out a picture saying, had to put out a thing, obviously saying this is out of order, this is wrong. Her family responded to on Instagram, saying, we woke up to see another DM encouraging her to kill herself. There have been hundreds, not one or two, there have been hundreds. Not only that, but people are flooding her inbox threatening to kill her themselves. This is a game show with a cash prize.
Wow. I don't know if America actually has Love Island or not. It's certainly not a show I would be interested in. If it does not, the closest equivalent would be The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
Yes, exactly. The fact of the matter is that the fact that they understood frustration around the person who was around Shannon's elimination, but Chloe does not deserve to die as a result of it, obviously. The deaths of Sophie Graydon, Mike Acitis, and of course Caroline Flack not taught us anything. All three of them passed away because of suicide, although none of them were linked directly to the show or social media trolling. But obviously, Caroline Flack was a former host of Love Island. Also, in general, can't people be better people?
You would hope so. Wasn't Hannah Kimura part of a reality TV show as well?
She was part of a show on Netflix. Yes. Unfortunately, hers was linked to trolling online. Yes, and that was devastating, of course. And the reason why I want to bring it up, it's quite a dark subject to bring up. Really, I brought it up because I want to put my stance forward on it, which is that I hate this. I hate very few things in the world. Taxes are another thing I hate, but I still have to put up with it. But this is one thing I really hate. Someone threatening to kill them, and they're putting like I'm going to post that. That's it. Fuck off. I've got my day, sort of thing. They won't have given a damn about the consequences because they hide behind a keyboard. It's terrifying. They don't know the impact they can have on someone. I was always told growing up, Graham. I'm pretty sure you told your boys as well. Bullies can't hurt you with their words, and that years ago that was true. Fortunately, nowadays that's horseshit.
It's a little different when you're in a school of a few hundred people and you're probably in close contact with a few dozen people, as opposed to when you're on a network that has billions of subscribers. I do wonder why some people don't make their DMs more private. But even so, people can still post their own comments, and you can search by the name of the person, and you would still see those types of things. That does not justify the comments that are being made, but certainly I think certain people would be better protecting what they can see online as well, or what can be sent to them. You can see why people do protect their tweets and make their accounts private. Yeah.
Just this week, in fact, I actually said this at the start of the on Techers when me Mags and James from that 1915 podcast I actually said at the beginning I'd actually responding to a message that had been left on one of our YouTube videos. Actually, not a nice comment, should we say? It was quite derogatory. I'm not going to give the time, but I addressed it. Not everything is for everybody.
Yeah.
And because if everybody had the same thing all the time, it'd get boring, wouldn't it?
But the same thing. If you don't like it, go watch something else. If you don't need to comment. Scroll on. There are other options that are easily available.
If people coming up
different. Like if you'd have made some racist comment or something, then the person would be right if they wanted to call that out. But just to go basically like on the grounds of you suck, then there's not much reason. We had that troll for a few weeks on Good Cop Bad Cop. I don't know if you remember. Like I would post something it's like nobody cares, nobody's watching, which was kind of true, but it still didn't. It was like just scroll on. Like I don't even know who you are. Like it was nobody. It was literally a nobody. It was. No followers, pretty much. And it's like,
the weird thing is that they were saying like, no one's watching, no one's paying attention to your tweets. Well, you are.
It was
the one person is, and unfortunately, as we've seen from fan cop moments, and as we've seen from the fact of how well, not just Good Cop Bad Cop, but how well other shows on VGM do in general, it just goes to show how there is a lot of love for the stuff we do put out. So, and I think that I try to focus on. I don't ignore the negative stuff because you don't get better by being told the negative stuff. But at the same time, anytime I start to feel a little bit down, I think I just go listen to the stuff which cheers me up. Because there's too much negative in the world, especially with COVID last 18 months. So there's nothing better than getting stuck into some good stuff, for sure.
I got a couple of short things to share. I did see today on Twitter, it looks like the CDC Pfizer's trying to rush through a booster for a third dose of COVID. So it sounds like the figures, like after 6 months, you are starting to become a little more susceptible to it. You're in less danger of dying, but you're more susceptible of still catching it and having certain side effects and perhaps being sick. So that was something I saw on COVID News. And today I saw is actually the 20th anniversary of the first showing of The Office in England. A show I particularly like. I don't think you do, if I remember correctly. I don't think you're a Ricky Gervais fan, if I remember.
Ricky Gervais, in his own words, it wouldn't be made now. He says. He said there's no way that The Office should be
Probably
made now.
not.
He actually
Probably
said.
not.
He said of its time. It was of its time, but
Yeah,
yeah, he only let it run for 2 years for 2 seasons in the UK for good reason. America,
of course.
then milk it dry. Now, granted, I am not the biggest fan of Ricky Gervais. I just find him too much.
Okay.
And this is good for somebody who likes people who are too much sometimes, like Frankie Boyle and Russell Howard and Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon. I like all those sorts of people. But Ricky Gervais is just. Ish.
I can see why people don't like him. I'm a huge fan, but I can see why people don't like him as well.
Yeah, I like Yuki's family. So.
Hmm. All right, I know we got to record in a few minutes' time. Anything else that you want to throw in before we finish? I know brevity is not your best skill, but
It's not my best skill, but I would be rude if I didn't have a chance to say, don't forget to go and check out Sire Mags on the Radiotecha's YouTube channel, which launches on Monday.
yes, and I'm pretty sure that they're normally mentioned as part of fan cop moments, so that was something that I was going to try and bring up. I've posted on both of our accounts, Good Cop, Bad Cop, said, hey, go check it out. On MGB Graham, hey, if you haven't seen this podcast, jump on it now. This might be the perfect time to start. Yeah, 9 p.m. BST, 4 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. Not sure what my plans are on Monday, but yeah, if I'm around, I will try and go support that for sure.
It will be live, but of course it's on YouTube, so if you miss it, you can always go back and listen to it later, or of course just listen to it on VGM.
Yeah, it will still be available in all the previous places it was.
It's just available in more places. That's all it is. More places. That's all it is.
Correct. Yep. All right, I think we better wrap this up then, Matt.
We're out of here. Bye, sweet guys.
Boom. You got to end it. I don't know where the end